Sméagol, better known as Gollum, has a much deeper and more complex history than what we briefly see in the movies. On screen, we only get flashes of his past, quick fragments that hint at something larger but never fully explore it. And that's understandable. The movies had limited time to tell an enormous story. Here, though, we can slow down and take a closer look. In this video, I'm going to explore a few points that may seem obvious to readers of Tolkien, but can be genuinely surprising for viewers who only watch the films. Let's dive in. 1. If hobbits resist the ring, why did Sméagol fall so quickly? Among all the peoples of Middle-earth, Frodo, a hobbit, was the one accepted by the council in Rivendell to carry the ring. And that wasn't random. Hobbits usually don't crave power the way men, elves, or even wizards do. And ambition, whether noble or corrupt, is exactly what the ring uses to bend someone's will. Boromir wanted to save Gondor, and the ring twisted that noble desire. Galadriel dreamed of becoming a just and mighty queen, and the ring tempted her with that vision, as shown in her iconic line, "In place of the Dark Lord you will set up a queen, and I shall not be dark, but beautiful and terrible as the morning and the night." But the point is, not all hobbits are the same. Just like not all wizards are the same, not all men are the same, and not all elves are the same. Tolkien makes it clear that Sméagol and his relative Sméagol were already unpleasant, morally weak individuals before the ring ever entered their lives. Quoting letter 214, "A trace of this can be seen in the account of Sméagol and Sméagol, modified by the individual characters of these rather miserable specimens." And in letter 181, Tolkien goes even further, describing Sméagol as essentially a thief. Quote, "The domination of the ring was much too strong for the mean soul of Sméagol, but he would have never had to endure it if he had not become a mean sort of thief before it crossed his path." So the ring didn't corrupt an innocent hobbit. It simply intensified what Sméagol had already become. That's why he fell so fast enough to murder his own relative over it. 2. What really happened between Sméagol and Sméagol during the fight for the ring? Here's some context. The day Sméagol found the ring happened to be Sméagol's birthday. Just like in the movies, Sméagol was fishing when a huge fish pulled him into the river, and he discovered the ring underwater. Sméagol approached him and asked for it as a birthday present. But Sméagol had already given him a gift earlier that day, and when he refused to give another one, Sméagol strangled him. Here's the passage from the Fellowship of the Ring. Sméagol had been watching him from behind a tree, and as Sméagol gloated over the ring, Sméagol came softly up behind. "Give us that, Sméagol, my love," said Sméagol over his friend's shoulder. "Why?" said Sméagol. "Because it's my birthday, my love, and I wants it," said Sméagol. "I don't care," said Sméagol. "I have given you a present already, more than I could afford. I found this, and I'm going to keep it." "Oh, are you indeed, my love?" said Sméagol, and he caught Sméagol by the throat and strangled him. And an interesting detail here is that, in the book, Gandalf refers to Sméagol only as a friend, but Tolkien clarifies this in letter 214. Sméagol, evidently a relative, had already given his customary present to Sméagol. Because of this, most fans assume they were cousins, which makes Sméagol's act even more tragic, and revealing of his downfall. 3. Gollum was much darker than the movies show. Gollum's diet alone paints a far more disturbing picture than anything shown in the films. Yes, he ate raw fish, but he also ate orcs whenever he could sneak up on them. And it gets worse. He intended to eat Bilbo as well. The movies soften this for rating reasons, turning some of it into dark humor, but in the books, Bilbo was terrified. Quoting The Hobbit, "He liked meat too. Goblin he thought good when he could get it, but he took care they never found him out. He just throttled them from behind." And a little further on, quote, "It must have a competition with us, my precious. If precious asks and it doesn't answer, we eats it, my precious. If it asks us and we doesn't answer, then we does what it wants, eh? We shows it the way out, yes." "All right," said Bilbo, not daring to disagree, and nearly bursting his brain to think of riddles that could save him from being eaten. And if that wasn't enough, the Fellowship of the Ring includes an even darker implication. Quote, "The wood was full of the rumor of him, dreadful tales even among beasts and birds. The woodmen said that there was some new terror abroad, a ghost that drank blood. It climbed trees to find nests. It crept into holes to find the young. It slipped through windows to find cradles. It slipped through windows to find cradles? Really? The implication is horrifying, and it's the kind of detail the films could never show. I'll save a deeper analysis of this for another video, especially how Gandalf, Aragorn, and the elves reacted to something so terrible. 4. The Gollum split personality mystery. Most fans assume Sméagol was the original Hobbit, and Gollum was the darker personality created by the ring. And to be fair, the books and films both reinforce this idea. During the War of the Ring, Sam even distinguished between the two sides, calling the good one Slinker and the bad one Stinker. And in The Hobbit, we get this telling line, quote, "What is he, my precious?" whispered Gollum, who always spoke to himself, through never having anyone else to speak to. This suggests Gollum began talking to himself because of loneliness and the ring whispering in his mind. But here's the thing. Sméagol speaks in the plural before he even touches the ring. We see it in the movie Flashback, and we see it in the book as well. And as Diagol gloated over the ring, Sméagol came softly up behind. "Give us that, Diagol, my love," said Sméagol over his friend's shoulder. So, what's going on? There are two main explanations. First, in the movies we watch the flashback as if we're witnessing the event directly. But in the book, the entire story is being retold by Gandalf. And even if he's quoting Sméagol accurately, by the time Gandalf met him, Gollum was already mentally and physically shattered. So Sméagol's plural speech might simply reflect a habit. The other possibility is simpler. Sméagol already had a fractured personality before the ring entered his life. If that was the case, the ring didn't create the split. It only intensified that personality dissociation that was already there. 5. Sméagol belonged to a different kind of hobbit than Frodo and Sam. Just as elves have their great divisions, Vanir, Noldor, and Teleri, hobbits also have three major branches: Harfoots, Fallowhides, and Stoors. Most hobbits have mixed ancestry, but each group has distinct habits. Harfoots prefer hills and burrows. Fallowhides live near forests. Stoors settle on flatlands and riversides. Frodo, Sam, and most hobbits in the Shire are primarily Harfoots. Sméagol and his people, however, were Stoors. And because Stoors lived near rivers and fished regularly, they ended up being the ones who discovered the ring. It wasn't purely a coincidence. It was the lifestyle of Sméagol's people that placed the ring directly in their path. A bonus fact, even though Gollum became consumed by the ring, he never got over killing his cousin. The guilt haunted him so deeply that, alone in the dark, he repeated to the ring the same excuse over and over again until he almost believed it himself. That Diagol was the one to blame for not giving him the ring as a birthday present. As we read in the Fellowship of the Ring, the murder of Diagol haunted Gollum, and he had made up a defense, repeating it to his precious over and over again until he almost believed it. It was his birthday. Diagol ought to have given the ring to him. It's tragic, and at the same time fascinating, because Tolkien subtly touches on something very interesting: the way some people struggle to take responsibility for their own actions, especially when the consequences can't be undone. If you like this kind of video, consider subscribing and leaving a like for more. It really helps small channels like this. Take care and see you in the next one.